Caffeine causes a crisis response. And whenever there's a crisis in your body naturally raises blood pressure in preparation because you're about to do the run or the climb or the fight of your life, as usually happens in a crisis. But actually the person's just sitting in the coffee shop or in the kitchen, and there is actually no crisis, even though a crisis was created. But meantime, the blood pressure has gone up. So now the body reacts and adapts to that rise to try and bring out the balance.
This is Barbara O'Neill, a naturopath and a pioneer in the field of natural health and wellness. She believes that our bodies have an incredible ability to heal when given the right support. And one of her core teachings is that high blood pressure can often be managed or even reversed using natural methods. Her teachings emphasize that understanding the real causes of high blood pressure is key. Factors like diet, stress, and lifestyle play a much bigger role than many people realize. In this video, she will be diving into the root causes of high blood pressure and revealing natural approaches to bring it under control. Some of these truths might shock you, especially if you've always relied on medication as the only answer. So, stay tuned as Barbara shares practical strategies that could help you regain control of your health.
8 lots of 8-ounce glasses of water a day. And with that 8 ounce, every time you begin a glass of water, the whole salt. Now, the reason why we're told not to eat salt, especially if you've had heart disease of any type or strokes, is because we're told that salt will harden the arteries. Is that right? Well, the industrial salt will, but not the whole salt, because the whole salt has approximately, I think the Celtic, they say 82, the Baja salt, they claim 84. There's 3 magnesiums, and that magnesium, when you put that salt on your tongue, the mucous membranes in the mouth absorb the magnesiums, take it to your cell membrane, and then you drink the water. That magnesium pulls the water inside the cell. There's no need to mix the salt in the water. We should be drinking pure water. And if you put it in the water, it's just dissolved into the water. But if you put it in your mouth, the mucous membranes take those minerals straight to the cell, you drink your water, and you pull the water inside the cell. How does salt raise the blood pressure? There's one salt that will raise blood pressure, and that's sodium chloride. That's the harsh industrial salt. We need the whole salt.
The whole salt, often referred to as unrefined sea salt or Himalayan salt, contains a variety of essential trace minerals that our bodies need to function properly. Unlike refined table salt, which is stripped of its natural minerals and left with primarily sodium chloride, whole salt provides a balanced composition that supports several bodily processes. The magnesium and other trace minerals in whole salt are crucial for maintaining proper hydration, cellular function, and overall balance within the body. When we consume refined salt, the imbalance caused by a lack of other supporting minerals can lead to issues like increased blood pressure and fluid retention. Whole salt, on the other hand, helps regulate the movement of water and minerals in and out of our cells. This is why it's important to take a small amount of whole salt directly, allowing the body to efficiently absorb it and use it to support cellular hydration and electrolyte balance. Whole salt also plays a role in supporting adrenal function. The adrenals, which are responsible for producing stress hormones like cortisol, require adequate minerals to function efficiently. When we use whole salt in our diet, we are providing the adrenals with the minerals they need to help regulate stress and maintain energy levels throughout the day. The balanced intake of water, along with whole salt, supports overall hydration, cellular health, and an optimal balance of electrolytes, which ultimately contributes to maintaining a stable internal environment in the body.
So looking at this, I'd like to start listing the causes of high blood pressure. So one of the causes of high blood pressure is table salt. Another cause of high blood pressure is no salt. as I have explained. Lining the gastrointestinal tract, especially as we'll see tomorrow, are villi. And on the villi, there are receptor sites for the glucose that's broken down from the food that we eat. The glucose comes into the receptor site and there's a carrier there, and the carrier will take the glucose through to the blood. But the carrier says, I will not accept you, glucose, unless you come with a molecule of sodium. When sodium is present, then the carrier will take the glucose through to the blood. Now, I have memorized this from the Anatomy and Physiology book, so I could give it to you from the horse's mouth. Sodium is the main transport system of glucose across the brush border wall and into the blood. So you can see a salt-free diet's crazy. If someone's on a salt-free diet, some of their glucose can't even get into the blood. It ends up in the little house. So salt is important, but it needs to be taken in its balanced form. And the Bible talks about salt. It's in Matthew 5, chapter 5, verse 13. It says, Ye are the salt of the earth. If the salt hath lost its savour, wherewith shall it be salted? It is henceforth good for nothing but to be cast out and trodden under foot of men. It's Old English. I love the Old English. Very poetic, easy to memorise. How does the salt lose its savour? I'd like to suggest that this salt has lost its savour. Its savour is all the other minerals. And what does the Bible say? It's henceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and trodden under foot of men. Well, there's one use for it. When we're at Misty Mountain in the wet season, there are leeches. And if you get a leech on you and put the table salt on it, it'll fall off. I can't think of anything else. I don't suppose you have leeches here, no? Too cold. So that's the salt issue. And my endeavour was to explain these things to you so that you will no more be confused about the salt. In his book, The Calcium Lie, Dr. Robert Thompson, he maintained should we have that little bit of salt just to replace the minerals that we lost yesterday in our urine, in our sweat. We need salt. Let's continue the causes of high blood pressure. Another cause of high blood pressure can be a vitamin D deficiency. How so? Well, calcium is a very important mineral. And calcium cannot get into the cell by itself. Calcium needs vitamin D. And when vitamin D is present, calcium is pulled into the cell. And when calcium's pulled into the cell, all the other minerals piggyback on the back of calcium. And this is why calcium is called the king. Because calcium's called the king, because when calcium gets in, all the other minerals get in, it's been misunderstood to the point where people think if they want strong bones, they've got to take calcium supplements. No, no, no. Calcium hardens cement, but it doesn't harden bones, because bones aren't made of calcium. Bones are made of minerals. Bones are made of 12 minerals and 64 trace minerals. Well, where do we find those minerals? In the Celtic salt, in its perfect form. Where else? Dark green leafy vegetables. Look at the size of the bones of the cow, of the orangutan, of the elephant. They're all vegetarian creatures and they've got very big bones. Where do they get their minerals for their bones from? Dark green leafy vegetables. We should eat dark green leafy vegetables every day. And you do not lose your minerals when you cook your vegetables. You will only lose your minerals if you cook your vegetables in water and throw the water away. There's all your minerals. Use waterless cooking. Put the tiniest little bit of water in, put it on a low heat with the lid on and let it slowly cook. And then use it all. But with spinach, silver beet, you don't even need to put water in there, do you? So much water comes out of it. When you cook vegetables in their own juice, you get a lovely flavour. So vitamin D deficiency can cause high blood pressure because if there's a deficiency in vitamin C, the calcium and the minerals can't get in. And what the body does, it builds up pressure to try and force it in.
When the body cannot efficiently bring calcium and minerals into the cells, it begins compensating by raising blood pressure, hoping to push these essential nutrients through the cell membrane. This pressure buildup is the body's response to a lack of necessary transport factors like vitamin D. It's trying to solve the issue, but without the correct nutrients, it ends up causing further health problems. This is why getting enough sunlight is crucial. Sunlight helps the body produce vitamin D, which then ensures that calcium, along with other minerals, is efficiently transported to where it's needed. Simply put, without adequate vitamin D, calcium absorption is compromised, and other minerals don't get where they need to go either.
Another cause of high blood pressure can be wheat and sugar. How so? We explained last night. You see, wheat and sugar both break down to glucose, and as we looked at last night in the diabetes lecture, high amounts quickly. And glucose cannot get into the cell by itself, it must have insulin. But if the pancreas is worn out because the person's eating so much sugar and so much wheat, then the insulin is depleted and the glucose can't get into the cell. Can you see what's happening here? The person's mineral deficient, vitamin D deficient, insulin deficient, and this is the CBD. This is where all these nutrients are required. And the cell says, we've got a problem here. How can we get it in? We're lacking insulin, we're lacking magnesium, we're lacking vitamin D. The body says, oh no, we'll just force it in. What's that? Blood pressure. So can you see high blood pressure has many causes? Many causes. Wheat and sugar are a contributing factor to high blood pressure.
When glucose can't efficiently enter the cells due to insufficient insulin, the body has to find alternative ways to maintain its energy balance. One of these alternatives involves increasing blood pressure to force glucose into the cells. This is a survival mechanism, but over time, it leads to sustained high blood pressure, which puts a strain on the cardiovascular system. This strain can cause damage to blood vessels, leading to a higher risk of complications, like heart disease and stroke. Another point to consider is that high sugar intake can trigger inflammation. Inflammation affects blood vessel walls, making them stiffer and less flexible. This further exacerbates the problem, as the blood has to exert more pressure to pass through these stiffened arteries. The lack of essential minerals like magnesium only makes things worse. Magnesium plays a vital role in relaxing the blood vessels, and its deficiency contributes to increased vascular resistance, thereby increasing blood pressure. So, if we summarize all of this, it becomes clear that high blood pressure is not caused by just one factor. It results from a combination of issues such as a nutrient-deficient diet, excessive sugar and wheat consumption, and the resulting deficiencies in insulin, magnesium, and vitamin D. All these factors interact in complex ways, creating a situation where the body is forced to elevate blood pressure just to meet basic cellular needs.
There is a herb that directly affects the heart to strengthen it, to bring the heart rate back to normality. If the blood pressure's high, it'll bring it down. If it's low, it can bring it up, because that's what herbs do. They work with the needs of the body. And if someone's wanting to come off blood pressure medication, the first thing they must do is implement this. That's first. Yes, you can stop your blood thinners immediately, you can stop your statin drugs immediately, but before you look at reducing your blood pressure medication, implement this. And what you'll find is you start to lose a little bit of weight, and that always helps. And you can take the hawthorn berry in conjunction with blood pressure medication, and as the blood pressure comes down, ease off the medication. You can take up to even 4,000 to 5,000 milligrams a day. It's very safe, is the hawthorn berry. You can drink the tea. If you drink the tea, it's 2 teaspoons to 1 cup, gently simmered. Drink 1 litre a day. And we've seen many people conquer high blood pressure by doing these simple things. Psalm 104 verse 14. God gave herbs for the service of man, and that's what herbs do. They come in and say, where would you like me? What would you like me to do? There's an intelligence in the herbs that works with the needs of the body. So I want to introduce you to a few herbs. One is the cayenne pepper. In Psalm 104 verse 14, the Bible says that God gave herbs for the service of man. And cayenne pepper is one of the best heart herbs we have. Cayenne pepper does three things. It thins the blood. Whereas aspirin, it thins the blood to the point where it causes eye bleeds, brain bleeds, and stomach bleeds. It's not a safe drug. Whereas cayenne pepper, it thins the blood and it'll heal the brain bleeds from the aspirin in the brain and the eye and the stomach. Cayenne pepper also dilates the blood vessels. So with dilating the blood vessels, you get a more effective and efficient flow of blood through the whole body. And cayenne pepper strengthens the arterial wall. So if there has been damage in the arterial walls, the cayenne pepper will strengthen arterial walls. It's a powerful herb. How do you take it? Start with 1/4 teaspoon in about 1/3 cup of water just before each meal. Throw it down, it'll tingle a bit, but the tingle stops. The other herb is hawthorn berry. Hawthorn berry strengthens the heart. In fact, if the blood pressure's low, it'll bring it up. If it's high, it'll bring it down. Remember Psalm 104 verse 14, God made herbs for the service of man. The hawthorn berry comes in, and whatever your body needs to do, whatever your heart needs to do, it will work with that. So you can take it in many ways. You can take it as a herb tea. If you take it as a herb tea, being a dried berry, it needs to be gently simmered. And the rule of thumb is 2 teaspoons to a cup of water, and ideally you would have 1 litre of that a day. Or you can buy it in a capsule form or a tablet form, and you can take up to 4,000 milligrams a day. It's a very safe herb, and you can use it even in conjunction with blood pressure medication.
Apart from cayenne pepper and hawthorn berry, there are other herbs that can help manage blood pressure effectively. Garlic is a great option. It contains allicin, which helps to relax blood vessels and improve circulation. By promoting the production of nitric oxide, garlic helps widen the blood vessels, making it easier for blood to flow and reducing pressure. Hibiscus is another herb that's been found helpful. Drinking hibiscus tea provides antioxidants called anthocyanins that help relax the arteries, reducing the pressure on the cardiovascular system. It also works as a natural diuretic, helping the body get rid of extra sodium, which is a common contributor to high blood pressure. Celery seed is also beneficial for lowering blood pressure. It contains a compound called phthalides, which can relax the artery walls and increase blood flow. This herb also acts as a diuretic, helping to flush out excess fluid and sodium, which helps to reduce blood pressure. Olive leaf extract is another herb worth mentioning. It contains oleuropein, which is known to help dilate blood vessels and reduce inflammation. This contributes to better blood flow and supports overall heart health, making it a good natural option for managing blood pressure. Valerian root can also be helpful, especially if stress is a factor. It acts as a mild sedative and promotes relaxation, which helps to reduce tension in the cardiovascular system. By keeping the blood vessels relaxed, valerian can help improve circulation and bring down blood pressure levels.
So I'll give you the story of Henry to show you what he did. He was a retired judge. He came to our health retreat a few years ago now. He was, I think, 69, and he was on 6 medication. He was on medication for high blood pressure, for blood thinning, for blood cholesterol, for blood sugar, for gout and for stomach ulcers. So he's on 6 medications. I said, "Are you interested in stopping your medication?" He said, "No, I'm very happy with my medication. Thank you very much. I always respect everyone's right for what they choose to put into their body. And shouldn't we? It's our God-given right." But we gave him hawthorn berry tea a day. We gave him a litre to drink through the day. It's not an unpleasant tea. We also gave him a little cayenne pepper. He was happy for us to try a few things. He took the herbs with him when he went home. He rang me 4 months later. He said, "Barbara, I'd like to visit you and get a few more hawthorn berries." I said, "Come for lunch, Henry." Now, when I opened the door, I did not recognise Henry. He had lost 20 kilos in 4 months. What's that, 40 pound? He said, I can do my coat up now. All the puffiness had gone out of his face. He said, "I've got a few stories for you." He said, "I went to the doctor recently to have my blood pressure taken, and the doctor stood up and left the room." He said, "Where are you going?" He said, "The machine's broken." Henry said, "Why do you say that?" He said, "Well, your blood pressure is 160 on 95. Did you hear that? That's on medication." He said, "This machine says your blood pressure is 120 on 80. It must be broken." Henry said, "That's my blood pressure now." The doctor took him off all his medication because his blood thinning's normal, his blood cholesterol's normal, his blood sugars are normal, his blood pressure's normal. He has no more gout, and he does not have stomach ulcers anymore. I think this is an incredible story because remember what Henry did? Henry went home on all his medication. Who took him off his meds? His doctor. Because if the doctor didn't take him off his meds, his blood pressure would go too low, his blood thinning would go too low, he'd start bruising all over the place because drugs come in and say, "Get out of my way, I've got a job to do whether you need it or not." Not the herbs. The herbs work with the needs of the body.
Let's now discuss lifestyle changes that can make a big difference. The first key is diet. Reducing your intake of salt is crucial. Excess sodium causes the body to retain fluid, which increases blood pressure. Opt for fresh foods over processed ones, as most packaged foods contain hidden salt. Increasing your intake of potassium-rich foods like bananas, leafy greens, and sweet potatoes also helps balance the effects of sodium in your body. Exercise is another essential lifestyle change. You don't have to train like an athlete. A brisk 30-minute walk most days of the week can significantly lower your blood pressure. Consistent physical activity strengthens the heart, allowing it to pump blood more efficiently, which reduces the pressure in your arteries. Stress management is also important. Chronic stress can lead to consistently high blood pressure levels. Consider incorporating relaxation techniques like deep breathing exercises, meditation, or yoga into your daily routine. Even small activities, like spending time with loved ones or engaging in a hobby, can help reduce stress. Lastly, limit alcohol and quit smoking if you haven't already. Both habits are directly linked to increased blood pressure. Alcohol should be consumed in moderation, and smoking should be eliminated entirely to improve overall cardiovascular health. Simple changes in diet, exercise, stress management, and habits can collectively lead to healthier blood pressure levels without solely relying on medication. Remember, these adjustments take time, but the long-term benefits to your health are well worth the effort. Thank you for watching. We hope you found these lifestyle changes helpful for managing your blood pressure naturally. Remember, small adjustments can lead to significant improvements in your health over time. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more tips on living a healthier life. And as always, take care of yourself and stay healthy.